All right, how's everybody doing? My name is Adrian, or as I am in this channel, Rhetoric Man. The reason for my name is that I have a podcast called the Four Horsemen of Rhetoric, comic podcast, where me and some of my friends talk about cultural importance of certain comics characters or runs. This is my first video on the channel, hopefully not my last, and I thought what better way to start my first video, or what better topic for my first video than my top 50 comics. So I am a comic collector. I've been collecting for, let's see, it's just the beginning of 2019. I've probably been collecting seriously for about 4 to 5 years. So it's not a long time. Prior to that, I had I had dabbled in comic collecting. First thing that really caught my eye was the Batman Hush storyline by Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb. And then I kind of just progressed from there. Yeah, so most of my comic collecting really takes root in my love for like 90s animated TV shows such as X-Men. And this isn't one of my top 50 comics, but this is just what I'm going to have here as a placeholder at the beginning of my videos. This is a sketch of me as Cyclops by Nicholas Gazin, who was the artist behind the artwork of a lot of Run the Jewels stuff. And as you can see, it's pretty detailed. Uh, we had a conversation about Hugh Jackman eating like a whole chicken, like cooked chicken, while training for the Wolverine film, and he kind of incorporated that, and it's pretty funny stuff. So let me go ahead and get started. I'll be pretty quick about it. These are my top 50. There's not necessarily an order. There's some sort of order to the chaos, but yeah, it's not necessarily like the first book I show is number 50 or number one or anything like that. So without further ado, my first book in my top 50. That's a cookie jar I won from White Elephant from Twiggy, who's another member of the podcast. The first one, if I could fit this on here without falling, I probably just have to hold it up, is Mr. A. Um, Mr. A is a Steve Ditko created character. They take a lot of inspiration from Rorschach, poor Rorschach, from this character. Very hard to find comic. It's actually newsprint. After that, let me just go ahead and switch to the back. New Mutants, Marvel graphic novel number 4, first appearance of the New Mutants. And then just gonna kind of finish up my oversized stuff. This is my copy of Love and Rockets number 1. This is a first print, and it's signed um, by Gilbert and Jaime Hernandez, and that was done in 2017 at the Latino Comic Con in Long Beach. And on the back, Jaime actually did a sketch of me, which I thought was pretty awesome. All right, and just to kind of stay with the indies for a bit, next up on my list is Saga number 1. Amazing series if you haven't read it. This is a third printing. I don't have a first printing. I wish I did. It is on my list, but just for the price it goes, I won't buy it for now. Next indie comic. Sorry for all the shaking moving around as I grab the comics. Sex Criminals number 1. Another awesome, awesome, awesome series. And then, of course, Deadly Class number 1. New series is out on Sci-Fi. I think there's 2 episodes in. Amazing series. If you haven't seen it, Henry Rollins was in the last episode, and I'm a huge Black Flag um, fan. And I do like indie stuff as much as I like mainstream stuff, especially alternative comics such as Robert Crumb. Here is a Zap Comics number 1. I believe this is a second printing. And most of these books are in Mylar. I think all of them are. Either Mylar, top loader, or both. Now I'm going to go on to the modern stuff. And I'm not a big variant guy. I get them if I can get them on the cheap. But this is one that means a lot to me because my little sister got it for me when she was younger. She like saved up her money and got it for me on my birthday. Sorry about the glare. I don't know if you can tell, but this is I forget what it's called when they're like this, but it changes up and Deadpool's dancing. This is Deadpool number 34, 152 variant, I think. Another modern key, and I just really love the signature on this. And I don't get too many books signed, but this one I did. Green Lantern 48, signed by Ron Mars. And this is the first appearance of Kyle Rayner, which is just one of my favorite characters of all time. Next, Modern Key, another signature. I didn't get this signed. I just bought it signed. Sentry #1, first appearance of the Sentry. Next, Modern Key, or sort of modern. Vengeance of Bane, first print #1, first appearance of Bane. And the final one, Infinite Crisis #5, the Jim Lee variant, first appearance of Jaime Reyes as the Blue Beetle. Just a lot of cultural importance. This character to me, he's a young Mexican American character. I am maybe not so much young anymore, but I'm a Mexican American as well, and it's really cool to see that this book's getting some buzz now. Next up, Watchmen #1. I mostly just have it on this list. It's not a super difficult book to buy, but just again the importance of this book, and the condition is just really, really, really amazing. I don't think I've seen one. They're usually in pretty good condition, but just the colors are really cool. Next up, I mentioned being a child of the 90s. This is X Factor #6, first full appearance of Apocalypse. Just love that cover. It's really iconic. Then we've got Sandman #1, first appearance of Morpheus. A few other characters as well. Neil Gaiman. As far as like reading and what I'm really into comic wise, I'm really big into Sandman. A lot of like the late 80s DC Vertigo stuff, like Alan Moore's Swamp Thing and the Hellblazer stuff, and Morrison's Animal Man and Doom Patrol. Next up, Marvel Spotlight #32, first appearance of Spider-Woman. I really got into her when I was reading through the whole Brian Michael Bendis New Avengers stuff. Next up is a recent eBay purchase, Superman #233. Just a really classic Neil Adams cover, and I am a huge fan of orange on covers. Probably be having a video soon of just my favorite orange covers. It's also my favorite color. Next up, Shazam #1. Yeah, I think it's the first like Silver Age Shazam. I'm not sure if it's considered Bronze Age. I'm really not sure. Sorry. Not completely educated on that. I'm not afraid to say it. Another very important book. She-Hulk #1. This is another comic that's about to pop, I'm pretty sure, if it hasn't already. Sorry, I believe this is the first, I'm not the first, sorry, last character created by Stan Lee. Or at least last mainstream character. Speaking of the 90s, this is one of my favorite characters. Underrated, but I think she's getting her due. This is Marvel Superheroes Winter Special. This is the first appearance of Squirrel Girl, Steve Ditko creation. And just amazing, amazing, amazing stuff. And then we've got Runaways #1. I actually found this in a dollar bin, and I was super stoked about it. First appearance of the Runaways. This book's really important to me because it's one of the shows I actually got my girlfriend to start watching with me, and I think it was actually pretty good. I'm not done with season 2 yet. I'm not gonna lie, season 2 kind of lost my interest a little bit there. I'm gonna show one of my slabbed books. I only have 3. I've had more, but I've sold them. This isn't gonna hold, I'm pretty sure. This is Booster Gold #1. It says 7/0, first appearance of Booster Gold. This is actually the Canadian variant, which is rare, I believe. I checked out the number on CGC. This is actually the only graded 7/0 in existence. So that makes me feel a little special. I think they're pretty generous with the 7/0, considering a few of the flaws. But it's a character I love, and he's getting not revamped, but rediscovered in that Heroes in Crisis by Tom King series. Next up, let's go with some of like the Bronze Age stuff I have here. Wonder Woman #1, George Perez. This is kind of just for my mom. She loves Wonder Woman, and I love this run. I'm still collecting it. I don't really like reading stuff until I've completely collected it, but I'm almost done with the first like 30 or so issues, which is really what I'm focusing on. Batman #368, first Jason Todd as Robin in costume, as approved by Batman. And I know it gets kind of weird with all that stuff. Again, orangish covers, love them. Speaking of Jason Todd, let's go to this next one. This is the first appearance of Jason Todd and Killer Croc, I believe. It's Batman number 357. This is a comic that I've been trying to get for a while, and I finally got my hands on it around Christmas time. All right. Next up, this is one that I didn't really have on my radar, but I was pretty glad I got it. All Star Comics presents number 58, or just All Star Comics. This first appearance of Power Girl. Then we got the Demon number 1, first appearance of the Demon Etrigan. It's like a mid-grade copy. I could use a cleaning for sure. Next up, Avengers King Size Annual number 10, first appearance of Rogue. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but X-Men's really my bread and butter, and that's like the only series I'm trying to get a full run of. And I'm almost done, at least with the Chris Claremont stuff. I think I'm only missing one issue. It's like 95 or something. 2 issues, 95 and 98. This is Amazing Adventures number 11, first appearance of Furry Beast. Still trying to get that grail with the first Beast, which is X-Men number 1, but might have to wait on that one. Alright, we're on to some Silver Age stuff. Teen Titans number 23. I just really love this cover. This is the first appearance of the new look for Donna Troy, Wonder Girl. Alright. Strange Adventures number 190. First appearance of Animal Man in costume. His first appearance is actually 180. That's on my top 10, which is going to be the next video that I'm about to make right after this. Sorry, top 10 wants for 2019. Next up is probably one of my favorite Green Lantern covers. Green Lantern number 52. This cover is pretty beat up. I've had so many of these copies of this, and I sell them pretty quickly. But my rule is generally just like if this cover's ever under $10 anywhere, I'll buy it just because I love it. But yeah, it's a really low grade, but can't deny that cover. Now this one. Probably one of the first Silver Age comics I ever bought. Flash 163, not first appearance. Sorry. This is on paper. I've read that it's the first instance of a character breaking the fourth wall, which is really cool. Also, Grant Morrison's favorite comic issue of anything ever, which is pretty important to me. It's a writer I really enjoy. Next up is a recent acquisition. Green Lantern number 59, first appearance of Guy Gardner. I just really love that cover. It's pretty good, pretty high grade too. I don't know, pretty high grade might be putting it a little too well. I think it's like a 6.0. Another one of my favorite covers. This is Strange Adventures 207, I believe third or fourth appearance of Deadman. This is a classic Neil Adams cover. Speaking of Deadman, here is my Strange Adventures 205, first appearance of Deadman. This is always a comic that I was never able to get for a good price, but I was able to get it at a recent con, maybe like a few months back, for a price that I felt very comfortable with. Before I continue with my Silver Age stuff, I'll go into a few more of like my modern keys, really just stuff I have in top loaders. Here is New Teen Titans number 2, first appearance of Deathstroke. Then we got Swamp Thing number 37, first appearance of John Constantine. I just really love that character. Next up, Teen Titans number 44, first appearance of Nightwing in costume. Also, I think something with Jericho, first full appearance, or for Origin or something. Anyway, I have a full run of this, I think. At least up to the point where Wolfman and Perez stopped working together. So that's kind of where I stopped. This is actually signed, my first con I ever went to, Marv Wolfman signed it, and then George Perez signed it a little later. Nightwing's like one of my favorite characters. I don't know why, just is. Also, a lot of orange on that. I don't know if I have already said that. Next up, New Mutants 87, first Cable. Don't think I need much more explanation on that. Let's go ahead and put in another slabbed one right about now, just because I don't know where else to put it, I guess, in the number, but I feel like it fits somewhere around here. Here is, and my typewriter will now hold this up. Ultimate Fallout, number 4. It's a graded 9.2. First appearance of Miles Morales, Ultimate Spider-Man. Or the second Ultimate Spider-Man, sorry. And I really enjoyed that film too, the Into the Spider-Verse. Next up, Captain Marvel number 14, first cameo appearance of Kamala Khan. But this one seems to go for a good amount more than what they consider her first full appearance. And I think I have like everything that has to do with that first full appearance, first in costume, for all that stuff. But that's the one that I consider. Before I go into that, let me go to my last slab comic on this list, which was like a super recent acquisition. Batman 635, first appearance of Jason Todd as the Red Hood. This is graded a 9.0. Super happy to have that in my collection. Yeah. Usually I see it for way too much, like at cons or at Frankenstein's or whatever. But I was able to get that graded 9.0 for about $50. That's just what happens when you check eBay like as frequently as I do. Next up, X-Men number 266, first appearance of Gambit, first full appearance, and yeah, just really love that character. Again, 90s X-Men stuff, yada yada. Let's go on to a few more of my Silver Age books, and these are the last ones I'm going to be showing. The last Silver Age, anyway. I did want to throw in some X-Men stuff. Like I said, I have most of the X-Men run. And for Silver Age, I have most of what I want, besides number 1. And number 3 and 4, of course. So, first up, X-Men 58. This is the first appearance of Havoc in costume, and again, orange cover. Love it. That's Neil Adams as well. Switching it up a little bit, X-Men 50. This is the first appearance of Polaris in costume. Her first full appearance is in 49, which I also have, but just the condition of this one's a lot better, and I really just enjoy the cover more. Jim Steranko cover. Next up, this is the first Silver Age X-Men comic I ever purchased, and it was in really good condition, and I'm really happy about that. This is X-Men 39, first appearance of the X-Men's new costumes. Really dig that. And then this is my oldest X-Men issue, which is why it's on my list. It's really tattered, but still, for the price I paid, I can't really complain. Also, it's a Stanley written comic and Jack Kirby drama. This is X-Men 14, first appearance of the Sentinels. Last 2 comics on this list, I've just gone through 48, burning through them, trying to talk as fast as I can. This is my second. This is definitely number 2. Or, I mean, yeah. Sorry. When I first started collecting comics, I really consider this a grail. Since I've only been collecting for a while, at least seriously collecting. This is my second copy of it. I had to sell my first one. I forgot. I'm pretty sure it was like Valentine's Day or something. But I was able to get the second one in a pretty cool eBay lot. Sorry. This is New Mutants 98. And I got that in a lot with New Mutants 87. It was 86 to 100. And I got a crazy, crazy good deal. Just by refreshing eBay. And my number 1, at least in my personal collection and in my personal opinion, I might have comics that are worth more than this, but this just really does it for me. It's X-Men 101, first appearance of the Phoenix, signed by Chris Claremont. I got to meet Chris Claremont a few years back at a con. I got to meet him and Len Wein and talk with them and take pictures and stuff. And for me personally, on my journey of collecting comics and just really loving all things superheroes and all things, I guess just pop culture and American mythology, the Phoenix is a character that's very important to me. My mom actually had cancer, breast cancer, and she beat it. And I thank God and I thank everyone like every day for that, because she's really important to me. And she blossomed my love for X-Men um, really just pushed those cartoons when I was a kid and action figures. And the Phoenix just reminds me of that. Is that getting out of a bad situation and just being reborn like a Phoenix. I know that doesn't necessarily gel with the storyline of the Phoenix or the Dark Phoenix or anything, but the idea of a Phoenix being reborn and coming up from the ashes is really important to me. This is actually the most money I've ever spent on a single comic, which I'll talk about later in a later video when I give like tips and just kind of talk about my personal journey with comic collecting. And it's not as much as you would think. I think I spent like $70 on this or something like that. It's a decent condition, but more than anything, it's just the importance of the Phoenix character, X-Men, my mom, and all of that put together. And that is it. That is my top 50. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you that did, for those of you that didn't, I don't know. I can't really talk to you because you're not watching. Anyway, my next video I'm gonna put up is my top 10 want list for 2019. Thank you so much for checking this out and have a good one. Also, check out the podcast if you can. It's for Horsemen of Rhetoric comic podcast. It's on iTunes, SoundCloud, and all that good stuff. See you later.